All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO gym. And the QBO gym is a place where we have numerous exercises that simulate real life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Every single month, we come out with a new set of exercises for you to practice and complete, and we break it down for you into 4 different sections. So today we are going to be working in the May cardio section where we really focus on those basic skills. At the top here is an animated video that tells you a little bit more about what's going on in Craig's business that month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive quiz to test your knowledge on the things that you may know that relate to the video up above. And then further down are all of the exercises within that section. So today we are going to practice recording a bill payment with a vendor credit. You will need to be in the sample company. If you are not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, just go ahead and click on the link below in the description. So our scenario today is that Craig has asked you to pay his bills. One of the fountains that Craig bought from Norton was cracked and unusable, so he destroyed it and got a vendor credit from Norton for its cost. We need to apply that credit before paying the outstanding bill. So let's see how to do this. First, a quick note about the vendor credit. Craig did not specify which of his bills he wanted you to pay nor which account he wanted to use to pay them. When you ask him about this, he says to just take care of the Norton bill. He's not sure how much he currently owes for them after the vendor credit. He says that if it's less than $50, we can go ahead and debit it from his checking account. If it's $50 or more, he'd like to pay for it with his credit card. To not go through Melio because they charge a fee, he will call Julie Norton directly and give her his credit card number over the phone if that's the case. So before we do anything, we need to add the vendor credit. So the first thing we need to do is click on the plus new button and then select vendor credit. So at the top here, here we are in the sample company. This is the dashboard. At the top here on the left-hand side, click on the plus new button, and then under vendors, click on vendor credits. And QBO is thinking, and there's that vendor credit form that we need to fill out. So in the vendor field, we're going to select Norton Lumber and Building Materials. So let's do that first. If you click into it and you start typing in Norton, you will see it appear. Go ahead and click on them, and you will see their information show up for you. As a note here, just like with an expense transaction, we need to decide whether to use the category details grid or the item details grid. If Craig were receiving a simple dollar amount credit, you would want to use the category details grid. But in our case, the credit is specific to a product. Remember, it's that fountain that was broken. So since it is an inventory product, which means that Craig tracks how many he has on hand at any time, using the item details grid has an added benefit of removing the item from inventory. So this is what we want to do. Since he had destroyed it, the fountain can no longer be sold. If the fountain were damaged and used and still usable, we would handle it in a different way, but that's outside of the scope of this particular exercise. The details of the inventory will be covered in a future issue of the QBO Gym. So just look out for that covered in another issue. So right now we're going to go back to this. We're going to click on the arrow to open up the item details grid, and we may want to just close the category details grid so that we can see just the items. So if you see this arrow next to category details, click on that. That will hide it. If you click on the arrow next to item details, that will open up the grid for you. So in the product service field, we are going to select rock fountain because that is what it is for. So click into it 2 times. And if you start typing in rock, you will see rock fountain appear. Click on that. And the information for that product has now appeared. So we're just going to go ahead and save and close that. So click save and close. And now the vendor credit for $125 for that rock fountain has now been saved. So there's 2 different ways that we're going to look at paying a bill. When we pay when we record a bill payment and apply a vendor credit. There we go. So we're going to look at both of those different ways. The first one would be using the bill pay or pay bills transaction feature. So to do that, we're going to click on the plus new button and then select pay bills. So click again on that plus new button. Under vendors, you're going to select pay bills, and this will appear for you. We're going to check the box next to Norton Lumber, and we'll notice that QBO automatically applies that credit to the bill. So if we just click on the checkbox right here, we see that that credit that we just created, that $125 for the rock fountain, has been applied to the $205 balance. Then now the new balance is $80. Now, we could proceed with paying. If we wanted to use Melio, which is QBO's integrated payment system, we could select pay or schedule payments online. But remember that Craig said that he didn't want to use Melio if he owed more than $50. So as you can see, he owes 80, so that's more. So we need to do this another way. We're just going to go ahead and click on the arrow in the green. We would just click on the green we would just click on the arrow in the green button to select save and close, but we're going to look at it a different way on how you would apply that credit. So we're just going to cancel out of this one and then select yes when it asks us if we really do want to leave without saving. So down here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there is a button down here that says cancel. Go ahead and click on that. And then it says, do you want to leave without saving? Go ahead and click yes. You could have also clicked on the X on the top right corner of that screen. It would have still asked you if you wanted to leave without saving, and you would still say yes. So let's look at the other way that we would pay this bill. Craig said that if he owed more than $50, he would call Julie Norton and give her his credit card number over the phone. So this is similar to payment at the service at time of the service. So we would use an expense transaction. Remember, expense transactions are used when you change money, when money changes hands at the time of transaction. So that's what's happening here. So step one for this is we are going to click on the plus new button and then select expense. So the plus new button on the top left corner here. Under vendors, you're going to click on the top one that says expense. And this form will appear, so we now just need to fill it out. In the payee field, we're going to select Norton Lumber and Building Materials. So let's click into that, start typing in Norton. You will see that their name up here. Click on that, and you'll see this little pop-up drawer show up with the $205 bill that we saw earlier, and then that credit that we created for $125. One little note here that just like billable expenses can be added to an invoice, which if you haven't done that in the April QBO session or issue, then go ahead back and do that. It has more information and more practice for you. But just like billable expenses can be added to an invoice, it can also be added to an expense. So we're going to click on the Add All button so that they all pull over. So just click on the Add All button here, and you will see that bill has pulled over as well as the credit that we had created. Now let's fill out the rest of it. In the payment account field, we're going to select MasterCard. So go ahead, scroll to the top here where it says payment account, click into it, and you want to select MasterCard. You'll notice that the bill you are paying and the credit that we are using are selected, and the bill payment transaction reflects just $80 owed. Of course, if we are not paying that full $80 at this time, we could always change it in the amount field, but since that's what we want to do, we're going to leave it as is. You'll also notice that paying a bill in this way does not allow you to use Melio. So scheduling that payment, save and schedule payment, is how you would pay with Melio, but since that is not an option, that is because the way we are doing this. So everything looks really good here. We have it paying from the MasterCard. The credit has been applied for a total of $80 that's being paid. So you can just go ahead and save and close. And there you go. That is how you create a vendor credit and apply it to a bill. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just go ahead and click on the link below in the description. we have finished up the cardio section. We move on to the strength training section where we really focus on journal entries. And I will see you in the next video.